What's up, guys? Isaac from Sqwire here, and we know that this is a really weird and crazy time for a lot of people. Whether you work in the food or entertainment industry and have been laid off or furloughed, so you're losing a lot of income, or you're working from home, there's just a lot of uncertainty and a lot of weird things going on in the world right now. So with that said, over the next few weeks, we're going to be releasing a lot of mini episodes with different experts that we here at Sqwire know and we've connected with, hitting on a bunch of different topics. Now, these are only going to last maybe 5 to 10 minutes, some closer to 20, but they're going to hit on all sorts of topics, whether it's from housing, mortgages, budgeting, dealing with losing all this money if you're a small business owner, all sorts of stuff. So those will be coming up throughout the next couple of weeks. Now, that said, the first episode started off as a conversation geared toward athletes who saw their seasons end and a lot of money that they expected to be coming in, not coming in, but it has a lot of relevant information for really anyone, no matter what industry you're in. If you thought you were going to be getting paychecks and now you've got no paycheck coming in, or your paycheck is significantly lighter, a lot of information about that, a lot of information on how you can turn this into something positive, whether it's taking the time to build your brand or to find a new side hustle and a way to maybe make a little extra income starting something that you wanted to do in the past but just haven't had the time to. So, on this episode of Making Your Money Work, myself and Danijel Velicki are joined by our two-time guest now, founder of A Frugal Athlete, professional soccer player with the Austin Bold, Amobi Okugo, and we talk about all sorts of things. So we hope you guys enjoy this and make sure to keep checking back in, as we'll have a lot of smaller episodes in the next coming days. For somebody that, obviously, Moby, you're going through this a little bit too. You're expecting to get those paychecks coming in, but to you and Danijel both, for somebody that's expecting to have that income and then something like this happens, this crisis, how would what are your suggestions for somebody going about kind of fixing that budget and adjusting their budget to fit a time like this?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. But fortunately for us and like our specific league, we're still getting paid. But it's just imagining, the extra revenue coming in, like through appearances and other forms that are connected as an athlete, you kind of have to adjust, like bonuses, player bonuses. And for the athletes that are free agents that were, probably trying to get back into the league or their respective league, it's quite an adjustment. And it's not an adjustment that you are prepared for. That's why, financial advisors and, people in the personal finance space always recommend having an emergency fund, because you never really know. So for me personally, allocating the budget and reanalyzing the budget for this kind of down period has been it's been crazy, because you have to really analyze, all right, what do I actually really need? What am I kind of wasting money on? Like, for example, my Amazon Audible account. As much as I read, I don't need an Audible account because the amount of books that I pay for per month for the subscription, it doesn't make sense. So that's like something that I got rid of recently. I know that's like a small scale, only $15 a month, but not only for athletes, but for the general public, $15 added up over time can go a long way.
Well, I totally agree with you, because we just looked at our American Express payment thing, and it was the same thing, like Hulu,
yeah.
Like Netflix, Prime, Disney, and then we also have regular cable. Like, there was about $100+ of stuff that we were paying for, and I don't remember last time I looked at a Hulu like anything, because it's just. You just get used to it, because $9.99 doesn't feel so bad every month. And, me and Melissa, my wife, we always have a joke, like, if $9.99 is going to break us. But if you do enough of $9.99s, you're talking about $100, $200, $300 a month. That really adds up to like almost a full paycheck every month of stuff that you're just paying for. You're not thinking about it because it's on an auto draft. So really, you can go to American Express, you can go to Visa, you can go to Discover, whatever credit card you're looking at. On every one of those charges, there's a number, there's an email address, there's usually a URL, and you can go to that and go, hey, listen, I want to unsubscribe. You don't have to do it for all the time and forever, but just this is a temporary thing. Amobi, you and I can agree that this is not going to go forever, right?
Exactly.
No bad thing or a good thing goes forever. But in short term, you can look at your budget and go, listen, I'm spending, $179 a month on things that I'm not really using. Let's cut that. I'm looking at, Starbucks. Now Starbucks is drive-through. I wonder how much money people really spend on Starbucks every month and go, okay, well, I'm not going to go drive-through. I'm going to make some coffee at home because I'm kind of stuck at home. So that's another $200 a month that I wasn't spending. So when you really look at your budget, just like you said, things that you used to spend because the money was just flowing, you're looking at it going, okay, maybe I don't need this. Netflix, it's okay because you got all the time in the world and your kids can watch some cool, shows, but all the other stuff you really don't need. So I think this is a really good exercise for most American people to go, here's like a list of things that I'm paying for. This is probably 80% of stuff that I'm not using the way I should be using. So let's go ahead and cut it.
No, you put it in excellent terms. I think when you break it down like numbers, you said you cut it down $200 and then Starbucks $200. That's $400. Yeah. And people always ask themselves like, oh, where can I get the money from? $400, that can, that's the difference between, starting a business or helping out a family member or, paying down some debt. It really makes a lot of difference.
Well, it's funny, like Wall Street Journal, before this stuff happens, I teach finance just like you try to teach the athletes. Every year they come out with an article about how much does it take per month, depending on what age you are, to get to $1 million by 65. Do you know what it takes at 25 to get the $1 million at 65?
At 25, I think it's like
less than $300 a month.
Wow. Because
time value of money and
compound interest.
If you do that every month compared to 35, it's almost $800 a month. Just because if you start right out of college, it's $278 a month. It's not like this cumbersome huge number, but if you do it early enough and you cut a couple of costs and you go like, okay, now I'm going to add it to the asset side compared to a liability side, the cost side. Now you're looking at $1 million at 65. It's ridiculous. And that's a 7.5% rate of return. It's not even a 10, 11, 12 or some crazy crap.
That's true.
It's amazing just because of, like you said, time value of money. It's amazing the younger you are compared to, me being an old fart, being a 42 Amobi, man, yeah. I have to spend like $1,500 just to catch up to that. So it's way different.
Amobi, I'll throw this one out to you. Sorry to cut you off, but for athletes specifically, we talked about this. You're frugal, you still are. What are some tips that you have? We even talked about, saving that per diem pack when you get back on the bus. What are some of your tips for guys that, as things get back up and they try to maybe climb out of holes that they put themselves in, guys can save a little money when they're in season, whether it's per diem or other ways?
No, I think you're seeing it a lot lately. Athletes that are using, that are living off their like endorsements or appearances or money outside their salary, and they're using their salary as like to build the fortress, whether it's, for their savings or their investments or their 401k, but they're trying to stay away from their main source of income and building out multiple streams of revenue. And everyone, as athletes thinks the only way you can make revenue is through playing. But you can use playing as the foundation to build out branches for other forms. So now, like specifically now that we have this downtime, you see a lot of players that are making these home workout training videos or getting into esports or, allocating different funds in different accounts, whether it's real estate or trying to take advantage of the market, depending on how you look at it. So it's all about the mindset. For example, I mentioned home workout videos. Yes, you can make a home workout video and engage with Instagram Live, but you can also make a home workout course and sell it. Or you can make a home workout, affiliate program of the equipment you use and get commissions off that. Maybe it may not be the right time from a PR perspective to kind of take advantage of what's going on. But if you want to take advantage, like, the great investors do, you can at least plant the seed for, when this downturn, as you guys alluded to, There's downturns, there's upturns, there's ups and downs. You have it now, so when it gets back to fruition, you have all these in place.
Who are some guys you've seen that have done a really good job in any sport of kind of building their brand or pushing their brand farther?
I think the best one right now is Paul Rabel. Paul Rabel, he played lacrosse. Yeah, and
what he's done is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's planted the seed. Like, I think when he first started was in 2010, so kind of not like directly in a similar situation, but after the 2008-2009 crisis. And he just, we didn't see what he was doing back then, but over the course of 10 years, staying consistent, making the right connections, making the right money plays, he's kind of winning right now. He's kind of winning right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, what he's been able to do with himself in that league has been unbelievable from a branding perspective, and kind of helping those guys push their own brand forward too.
Yeah, and it speaks to what you guys promote too. Lacrosse is not a major sport in the States. They're not making money. If you look at articles, most of those guys, most of those athletes had to have second jobs. If not, most of them still do. So it's all about what you're doing with your money, what you're doing with your time. And like you guys alluded to earlier, 10 years, the earlier you start, the better, whether it's, investing, whether it's, putting in the work from a content perspective or building a brand or just making connections.
What do you think about ways to kind of, and Daniel chime in here too, but as we shift back and kind of hopefully fast forward in life to when this crisis is over, sports are back to normal and everything, about ways that people are going to kind of learn to maybe prepare themselves for the future and set their own finances up in case this happens again, so they're in a good place and they're not scrambling.
Well, so I it, Isaac, I read a bunch, and one of the things that I learned early in my career, first off, Warren Buffett talks about multiple streams of income at the same time. That just means that you're not depending on one thing, because if that one thing goes down, then you're in a desert. You're by yourself. You have no water. You know nothing, and survival is very tough. The second thing, and this is something that I teach all the time, is liquidity is a huge deal when it comes to these kinds of issues. So one thing that I've seen with so many, Amobi, you said, like financial advisors and stuff, they talk about, the market is everything. You need to just invest in the market. It's great because they're selling product, and that's awesome. But the issue is that they're getting into position that if the market goes down, you have nothing to fall back on. So understanding all the products out there and understanding liquidity allows you to deal with change. Change is the one thing that's guaranteed, right? It's ability to adapt to change that's going to make you be successful, not successful, whether you can, move, whether you're agile. So in these kinds of situations, I have a lot of friends that are business owners, those that are liquid, those that have the ability to adapt to the fact that, revenues are down, the employees are home, the purchase orders are getting canceled. Anybody that's capitalized right and that is putting themselves in position to deal with the fact of reduced revenues are going to be great, and are going to be the ones that are going to be left behind after all this stuff passes. Because remember, everything is temporary. The great times are temporary. The bad times are temporary. So we just have to work through this, and the ones that are left are going to be the ones that are going to take advantage of the future. So it's just a fact of don't jump into the hysteria. Just protect yourself. Know that, Amobi, you talk about, every time we talk, it's like 3 to 6 months worth of savings, 3 to 6 months of basic expenses. Like, everything's going to be fine as long as you're doing the fundamental financial basic planning. That's it. It's very simple.
No, I couldn't have said it better myself. Everyone talks about, different ways to obtain wealth, or like what wealth means, and whether you have, you're asset heavy or cash poor. But as Daniel alluded to, you have to have capital and you have to have liquid. So I'd love for you to explain, because some athletes don't know. They only think liquid as cash, so if you could like dive into that further, but being able to, kind of be, as you said, fluid, like water, being able to, ride the waves up and down, because you have the liquidity to make make moves when you need to.
Let me ask you, Amobi, what position do you play?
Center mid or center back.
All right. Have you ever gone on offense?
Yeah.
How successful would your team be if you were never able to take that opportunity and only had to stay in a square that they put you in?
Yeah, it'd be a hindrance to the team.
You'd be a hindrance to the team. And the forward guy was only able to stay in the 30 feet from the circle of the mid and to the 16-meter box. That's it. That's all he could do. It puts you in a position where you are unable to play with the movement of the game. So it puts you in a position where you really can't adjust. The adjustment is what makes the team or world available to adapt to what's going on around them, right? So it's the same thing. So when you talk about products, right? When it comes to finances, products is what everybody needs, but they never get taught. The problem with the financial industry is that it's sold rather than bought. You're buying when you're educated, when you're strong, and you're in a position that you understand what you need. When you're sold when you're in a weak position, you're not taught, and you're in a position where somebody's telling you something and you don't need better, and you have to buy it. So there's so many products when it comes to finances. Most of us know the 401k. Most of us know the Roth IRA. The issues in these kinds of situations with the products is that they're sold by financial advisors. Do you know when can you take the money out of the 401k?
Not until you're 65, 59 and a half if you want to take a penalty. Yeah.
Right. So in this kind of situation, the IRS says, hey, I get it. You need the money, but I'm going to go ahead and charge you an extra 10% penalty plus the taxes on top of that. So it's a very expensive move to make. But what if you just have a regular savings account, money market, and then mutual fund? Mutual funds are completely liquid. They're invested in the market. You have the ups and downs. So you would have experienced some loss this week, but there's no 10% penalty on that. What about one of my favorite assets from when I talk about it? They're like the least, they're most controversial is the old school cash value life insurance policies, like Gerber Life, the shit that the stuff that parents buy for us when we were babies. My wife has one that was like $250 a year premium. There's like $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 in there, and it doesn't lose value. It can't by contract. So like you have these companies that are Mass Mutual, Northwestern, Ohio National, and Northwest Mutual, New York Life, that have these products that don't lose value. Mutual funds are liquid, but they can lose value. So the fact is that there's so many things out there that are available to us as consumers, but most people don't talk about it because they're sold by financial institutions or financial individuals based on what they want to sell. And the problem is, I mean, you know this, Amobi, Isaac, you and I talk about it all the time. MBA programs don't teach this stuff. Doctors don't teach, MD programs don't teach this stuff. Sqwire, law schools don't teach this stuff. It's just a fact that there's not enough information to put people in a position where they understand all their options. There's so many things out there that could potentially be better as a part of the plan to allow them to deal with the change that could come at some point like we are experiencing now. So this is not an unknown. I mean, 2008 happened, 2001 happened, this has happened multiple times for different reasons, but people act like it's a new thing. It's not.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just again and again and again, but they keep doing the same crap. So, we try to teach, like, you just need to educate yourself. And that's why I love what you do, Amobi, is like frugal investor, like learn about the things that are out there and put yourself in a position where you can deal with change. Change is guaranteed. Your ability to adapt to change is success or failure. That's it. It's very simple.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions. That would be my advice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's the best. If people don't take anything out of this today, but what you just said, the issue with financial literacy is that it's something that we think we need to know. But I have so many friends, so many clients that are like, listen, there's a point in my life where I feel like I should know. And then if I ask a question, I feel like I'm ignorant and I'm stupid. And then I just don't. And then I sit in my house, hope that things are going to work out and hope It's a
Yeah.
horrible financial strategy.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
So, and they don't feel like they can ask a question because they're going to look stupid. It is the worst thing that has happened to our societies, that this inability to ask questions has put people in a position where they just don't do anything rather than actually, what you said, ask a question.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot too. Like, just, I don't know if it's a pride thing, ego thing, but
Yeah.
yeah, you have to, because you want to be able to explain it to somebody else. That's how well educated or in tune you want to be when it comes to financial literacy. Because as you said, like, we could learn it or we could hear about it, but if we don't know how to explain it or how to do it for ourselves, then what is really financial literacy? So.
Yeah, well, I think that's a pretty good place to wrap her up there. So, Amobi, Daniel, thanks a lot. Appreciate your time, guys.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.